Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Virtual Riot, and I've had a pretty busy weekend with shows in Fort Lauderdale and Philly and Austin, Texas, and it was really cool. Still got the Illfest wristband. Yeah. And this Friday, the Simulation DLC remix album is coming out, which I'm also super happy about, but I didn't want to leave you without a video this week because there's something really cool I want to show you. So let's go! So many of you might have seen or heard about this new plugin from Excellent Audio called Life. And its point is that you can give it a 15-second audio sample of all kinds of whatever, doesn't really matter, and it'll turn it into like a cohesive groove for you. So here's a factory preset, for example, where someone recorded noises from a ping pong game. And then you can sync this to your host tempo and it'll create you something like this. And there are a lot of like beats to browse from in this list here. You can randomize one of these. You can go and edit them if you want. So if I hit randomize, we get all kinds of variations, and you can like use all these knobs here, these macros, to like get more variations in how those samples are being pitched and changed and affected, or how this pattern is looking. Like give it more density, add a bunch more notes, make it more syncopated or more symmetrical or less symmetric. And if you ever don't feel like you can tell where the one in the bar is, you can turn on this little kick here. I've got a reference. So I really like this thing. I've been throwing all kinds of samples at it. So you can like link it to an app on your phone where you can just record on your phone like all kinds of random Foley and then upload it, and it immediately shows up as an audio file here that you can then play with. And I've recorded a bunch of random stuff. There's some Foley recordings here. And you can like... That's me trying to demonstrate this plugin to someone. I'll just load that one. And something noteworthy here is you see the different colors of these slices, right? Is that me? What is that sound? So you can kind of tell that these yellow ones here, for example, all sound kind of bassy and kick drummy. So this plugin has kind of an algorithm to determine which slice that it's creating is more kick-like and maybe more snare-like or maybe more hi-hat-like, so that these patterns that are being generated kind of make more sense musically. I'm gonna turn the kick drum off. See if we can get a pattern where... That's cool. That sounds awesome. So I've been using this to make all kinds of little like background beats, percussion loops, top loops on top of just like a standard kick and snare rhythm of any kind, just to like make it more interesting and give it some life. But you can go further and you can make really cool melodic loops with this too, which is what I want to show you. So here, for example, I have a couple of melodic loops that I want to throw into Life and see what they sound like. So we, for example, got this one. I'm gonna just drop that in here, just straight from the project file. If it is longer than 15 seconds, you gotta select which part, and then let's get that analyzed, and then it should show up at the top here. I'll load that, and I'm just gonna solo the Live channel right now, see what that sounds like. Okay, I've got another one over here. Dark and foreboding. It's gonna drop that one in here as well. Load that, unless that you can give them names and colors and everything, and then they'll show up in the list up here. But let's load this one, and then let's see if it's still gonna sound good, because sometimes you might run into this problem that I'm probably gonna run into here as well. So this one rhythm down here that's being played is pitching the samples down, or the slices that it's triggering, and this one is pitching them up by one semitone. So if you're working with melodic material, that's gonna make it sound real weird and dissonant. Like this, for example. What you can do is you can just click down here and turn pitched off. Now it just stays on the original pitch. So now we can keep randomizing and nice, and it's always at the original pitch. You can still go back maybe later and turn this on and then be like, hey, actually I want this one and this one to maybe be an octave up. But we can go one step further. We can always go one step further. But we can go one step further and we can make our own melodic material to then put into Life. So for example, here I have a serum patch that every 4 bars switches between sine, saw, triangle, and square. so that within 16 bars, it's playing all 4 of those for 4 bars each. And then I've made these little chords here, which are all in D sharp minor. So it repeats these chords over here with a saw, with a triangle, and with a square. Now I just gotta make sure that all of this happens within 15 seconds. If XLN Audio could increase the sample length limit to maybe 30 seconds or something, that would be cool. So I'm just gonna speed the project up until the end of this kind of hits the 15-second mark. So this is pretty fast now. Well, that sounds all right. I'm gonna freeze that, bring it down to an audio track, and then drop that into Live. Load the whole shebang. I bring the project tempo back to 150. Load that freeze, and you're gonna see how it's made a slice at almost every of these chords. If you need to adjust this, you can go in here into slice points and you can add your own as well. I'm just gonna add 2, one over here and one over here. You can always like pre-listen to these as well by just clicking on them. Like, for example, that one is going a little bit into the next one, so you can like move the start and end points around if you want to. This should be fine though, this should work. All right, I'm gonna turn the pitch off and I'm gonna randomize a new groove. Go again. I love it. The like randomized reverb and delay also kind of like add something really cool to this loop every time. I wonder if this has separate outs though, because it would be kind of cool to send like each of these 4 rhythms to a separate audio track to then give them different processing. But I am not sure if that is a possibility. Yes, it is. Oh, nice. Okay, so I guess it might be. Select the bus output for the lane. Yes, it is. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Okay, cool. A lot of people might not know how to set this up, so I'm just going to show you real quick. So you make audio tracks, just empty audio tracks, for however many different like separate outputs you want to route out of this plugin, for example. This works for other plugins too. This is how Contact by Native Instruments works with multiple outputs. Reactor can do this. Many plugins have this feature, and sometimes you might want to use it, especially in like, I don't know, like a generative creative aspect like this. I would be tempted to have different randomized effects chains for each of these different rhythms. So you can say output bus 1 through 5 or 1 through 5 and the master. I'm just going to keep the master on for these, but I'm going to say, hey, you go through 1 and the master, you go through 2, you go through 3, and you go through 4. So we're still hearing them because they also go through the master. I just wanted to select that just to make sure. And now on these audio tracks, so I need 4 since I want to route out 4 different things. On these audio tracks, you can now say, hey, I want to put audio into this track, but not from an external input. I don't want to record anything. I don't want to resample. I actually want audio to come into this track from that Live channel and from bus number 1 on that Live channel. And now I can actually just duplicate that one 3 times and then say this one actually takes bus 2, this one takes bus 3, this one takes bus 4. And then all of these have to be on in, so input monitoring. And now, as you can see, they're all coming out on individual outputs, as well as on the master. So now I can give them different effects. Let's hit randomize a couple more times and see what we're gonna get. Sounds like a Fortet tune. I love it. That literally sounds like a Bonobo song. This is sick. This reminds me of like Perfume or like, you know, like J-pop, Yasutaka Nakata style happy electro stuff. So yeah, if you have Live, try playing around with this. Put melodic stuff into it. You can also just arrange a little 15-second file of all kinds of different samples, just pitch them all into the same key, but you could have like different chord steps, note steps, vocals, like from Splice and all kinds of things, put them all into the same key, make a 15-second file, throw it into Live, and then see what comes out. Just make sure to turn off that pitched button down here in case you're getting like weird atonal results. Also, you don't have to buy this. There is a, I think, 20-day or more demo for this, so definitely get the demo first and see if you're actually gonna end up using it a lot or not, because it is quite pricey. So I always use demos first, and then if I've used it once or twice in the entire demo period, then it's probably not gonna end up in my workflow. So yeah, but try the demo, it's fun. I'm gonna make a couple of loops like this with Live. All right, so on my Patreon, I'll put a download to a folder with a bunch of source files that work well with Live, where it's like these kind of chord progressions that I made with Serum, or just 15 seconds of cool Foley that sounds nice and gives you some cool percussion loops. And I'll render out some of these like melodic loops that it's been giving me right now and put them in there too. All right, happy slicing and generative music making. Bye-bye.